Hey, rock stars. It's Kenzie. This is my, I think, third week, right? Hosting for Romy and Mark, who send their love. I got up very bright and early this morning to post BOGOs. And within my Facebook feed, it said, you know how it says people traveling? It said, Romy Clark is nearby. And I was like, really? So I sent her a text, and the truth is, yes, it's true. Romy Clark is nearby, and she sends her love. So know that she's thinking about you, and know that if you tell her what I gave away tonight, I'll kill you. So that's between me and you, and that's how we're rolling. So tonight we have Amanda and Mike Whitman, who have been with us for quite a while. I feel like you guys have been popping up here for how long?
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, how like a year ago, I think we were doing our first rock stars with you guys.
Yeah, I remember all of a sudden Amanda like piped up one day and we started asking these questions, and I thought, well, who is this chica? Like, she's cool. And that was a year ago. I love it. I'm stoked about this. So they're going to talk to us tonight about balancing family and doTERRA and all the goodness that comes with balancing family and doTERRA. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off.
All right. Do you want to start by telling them like about our family? Like if anybody doesn't know
Sure. Okay, so we're Mike and Amanda Whitman. We've been married for like 16-ish years. We have kids, a lot of them. We have 7 children. They range in age from nearly 15. We're in birthday season right now. So nearly 15, 13, 11, 8, 6. Our 6-year-old has special needs. We adopted him from foster care. He has cerebral palsy and some significant cognitive delays.
and emotional regulation.
Some emotional regulation challenges, which are very humbling.
Yeah, how do you say it? Occasional, moderate emotional regulation challenges.
Bullcrappery.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Keep going.
Okay, and then we have an almost 4-year-old Betty, and then an almost 2-year-old Hazel. So that rounds everybody out. The question we get asked a lot is Joe your only one that's adopted? The answer is yes. We did not intend to adopt from foster care. We did foster care. This baby landed with us, and we got him for 2 years, and he was eligible for adoption. And we thought, how on earth could we have a baby for 2 years and then say, no, go find him a different family? Right. Shortly after that, the state of Nebraska changed their laws, so we could only have 6 kids, 12 and under, or 19 and under in our home. So we can't adopt or foster anymore until people start leaving.
So I bring that up. We're going to start there because, like Amanda posted in the Facebook post, the alternate title for tonight is "If we can do this, you can do this." Like, I feel like we have lots of really good excuses for why we couldn't do this, but we are, and here we are. So the format, I do sales for a living. That's kind of my day job. So I can't even talk without slides in front of me. So I've got an outline. I've got some things. I'm going to talk more like the theory kind of philosophy kind of stuff, like how we try to think about work-life balance, you could call it, or doTERRA, family balance.
And I'll be shooting from the hip.
Right. And she's going to be maybe more like the practical, like how the heck you actually do this. So I made a list of things that I feel like were important to remember. Like as you're trying to balance your family, as you grow your doTERRA business, you got to remember these things. So the first one is remember why you're doing this business. That comes up a lot, but gosh, you just can't bring that up enough. Remember why you're doing this, because if you haven't figured that out, you have to start there, because honestly, you cannot be committed to building a business if you don't know why you're doing it in the first place. You will find other things to make a priority. Other things will swallow up your time. So stay focused on that. I love this quote from Simon Sinek, big Simon Sinek fan. He says, working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion, right? So think about this. Probably if you're like us, at least for us, like the reason we're doing this business is for our family. It's for our kids. It's for the freedom that is coming with that. You can talk about our Florida trip later, or do you want to talk about it now?
You tell me. You've got the slides.
Go for it.
Okay. So speaking of freedom, like, you know, as you might imagine, having a house with 7 children, even with a husband who has a really great job, I've been a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. That's just what we've chosen to do for our family. And it worked really well until it wasn't quite working anymore. Yeah. And I realized, like, you're going to have to ladle my brains out with a spoon if I don't apply them to something soon. Yeah. And so things fell together that doTERRA was going to be that thing. Now, I'm not going to use the term paycheck to paycheck because we have everything we need until doTERRA came along. Yeah. And because we have worked our butts off over the past year, 15 months, we're going to Florida tomorrow.
In 4 hours.
In 4 hours. We're actually leaving for Florida because we're driving from Nebraska. It's fine.
That's true.
It's a Midwestern thing. We'll just drive.
Well, and when you have 9 people in your family, like, it'd be $31,000 for
roughly
for plane tickets to fly there. So
yeah, so we
So we had some plans that fell through. We were going to go to Branson with family. That's a long story that we won't talk about tonight.
Yeah, that'd be inappropriate.
But Amanda was like, "Hey, so that's not happening. We have this time open. What if we go?"
Well, he calls me. He's like, "We're not going to Branson anymore." I was like, "Cool. I'm gonna pull up Airbnb right now. We're going to Florida." He was like,
that's true.
He was like, no, we can't afford it. I was like, do you want to know what my paycheck was this month? You better believe we can afford it. We're going to Florida. Yeah. And he was like, you know what? Fine, we're going to Florida. So that type of freedom, the type of freedom that comes with being able to take your family of 9 on vacation, that's the kind of things that's why we're doing this. Right. We are doing this because we get to spend all this time with our kids and pay cash for it. And we are really, really excited about that.
Yeah. So, like I said, remember why you're doing this. And one thing that we come back to over and over again, by the way, is that honestly, I don't feel like there's any secrets to this business. I feel like it's actually really straightforward. Do the same things over and over and over again, and then it will get you where you want to be. But not everybody does it because people lose track of that why. They don't focus on that. So sometimes that means we do have trade-offs. We have nights when Amanda's not here that I sure wish that she was, that, I do bedtime and she's teaching a class. And then, I come downstairs from bedtime and start doing dishes, and then she gets home from her class. And then that means vacuuming and sweeping and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But again, we're making those choices, we're balancing it because we believe in what we're doing and why we're doing it and where we're going. My second point in my really great notes here, remember to be thankful. I think that's a big one, not just because it's Thanksgiving is here in a few days, but remembering to be thankful. You guys, I'm sure, know about Rachel Hollis, right? She's speaking at the leadership retreat here in, when is that, April?
March.
It's in March. So I listened to their podcast. Her and her husband, Dave, do this podcast. It's great. It's called Rise Together. And he said the other day, we only get upset when we get surprised. And if you think about that, for me, at least, I know a lot of my stress comes from times that my expectations are not being met. Mm-hmm. So I expected to have a free and easy night, but then instead Amanda's got a class and that interrupts my flow. Or I expected the kids to be perfect little darling angels who don't have any needs and just go to bed and stay in bed. And, and sometimes that just doesn't happen. So I heard the other day on a different podcast, that it's really important to find a way to maintain an attitude of appreciation instead of expectation. Honestly, I think that's helpful even when you think about your team and your builders and your sharers of sometimes I'll feel stressed. In fact, it happened last month when we were almost at silver, but not quite there. And we needed one person to do the thing that we really, really, really needed them to do. And they hadn't done it yet. And my expectation was do what I need you to do, so I don't have to be stressed anymore. Instead of, I could have been in a place where I was thankful that we were almost silver by then. I was thankful, I could have approached it a completely different way. And so I have found for me, doing a lot of the personal development that goes with doing doTERRA, I can't stress enough how important that is. If you want to keep going, mm-hmm. if you want to do this in a healthy way that is sustainable, that is healthy for your family, for your spouse, for your relationships in your life.
And I might touch on, if you don't know at this point what personal development is, I would say, in a really general sense, personal development is just being a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today. Yeah. And there are so many tools for so many styles of learning, so many people, so many podcasts, so many books. blog posts, like whatever your thing is that you learn best through or you want to read through best, like talk to one of your uplines, talk to us, talk to,
absolutely.
I'm sure like Kenzie or whoever, like we have solutions for your personal development challenges. If you are just like the type of person that I need a quote a day to keep me going, you know, like a positive quote every morning, like that's part of personal development. It's changing your mindset to one that's positive instead of one that's negative.
Yep. So a big part of that I've found is helpful for me, and I felt really silly about it at first, was saying things out loud. Like I know like talking to yourself or whatever, but like saying things like, I'm thankful for my spouse, or I'm thankful for my beautiful children most of the time, you know, or like, I'm thankful that I can earn an income through doTERRA. Like saying those things out loud can really, like your brain hears you say it and your brain goes, oh, that must be true because you just said it. And it actually can help you the way that, like the story that you're telling. And that leads me.
Can I make a point there too?
Please.
So like my last 5 minutes or so before I arrive at a class, I turn off my music and I have like a work playlist that kind of like gives me like pumped up before my classes, but I will turn off the music and I will just say, Amanda, you are so good at teaching classes. You have a 100% close rate. Everybody wants to hear what you have to say. And I just like whatever comes to mind, I just keep going and going and going and telling myself how amazing I am at teaching classes. I might not believe it right then, but I'm saying it and I'm putting it out there so that it will, like when your ears hear that, they go, yep, that's true. And I tell you what, those classes that I drive to that I'm going like, you're awesome. This is going to go great. Yep. Everybody's going to love what you have to say. You don't have anything weird on your face at all. Like whatever the thing is that I need to say to get myself going, I have better classes those nights. Yeah. So that's like a little practical, like, yes, we're grateful for our spouses and our children and those things, and we can say those things out loud. But also, like, part of my thing is I need to just say, like, you're great at this. Keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that leads to the next point that I had is that you need to remember that it's your story. This is your story, right, that you're telling, that you are writing right now. I don't know if you guys are Brené Brown fans at all. I love her writing. It's been super helpful for me to process through some things that I really need to get working on. She says in, I think it's Rising Strong, the most dangerous stories we make up are the narratives that diminish our inherent worthiness. We must reclaim the truth about our lovability, divinity, and creativity. So again, remember, it's your story. You're the one that gets to tell it. And this one, I thought more of like balancing extended family, not necessarily just like the family that's in your home, because there are going to be people who have already given up on their dreams, that they're going to tell you that the story of your dreams is impossible, right? There's going to be people that they gave up hope so long ago that your commitment, your success, your passion is threatening to them. And they're going to tell you that. They're going to resent you for that. Even people within your own family, I think about.
And when people feel threatened, they lash out. And it's not about what you're doing. It's about them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think about like Amanda's mom has just recently started to get excited about oils, and that's been really fun to see.
Like she couldn't log onto her account, you guys, my own mother. Okay. Come on now.
Yeah. And so my mom, like, she's the one, like, she's just not into oils. Like when people say I'm just not into oils.
She hasn't like acknowledged we do this.
Yeah. Well, she kind of just thinks it's a hobby that we have, and like this fun thing that we do. And frankly, like whenever, like she sometimes will buy oils, and this is true, she'll buy them through a friend at work's daughter because she gets the wholesale discount if she buys through them, and she doesn't want to. So like, I love my mom. That's enough of that. But my point is, like, even the people maybe that are really close to you, they may not be on board. They may not be supportive.
And without the mindset work that we've done over the past 2 or 3 years, that sort of thing would have just derailed us.
Yeah.
It would have been very upsetting. It would have been like, what's wrong with me that they don't like me and they won't get oils from me? And I'm like, oh, that's not y'all. We're good here. I stock up oil. It's fine.
I hope that wasn't Rose.
No, it was like an empty bottle of Digestin. It's just very exciting.
Is the wine okay? Is the wine okay?
Yes.
Okay, we're
Cheers.
good.
No problem.
It's all good.
Yeah. But I think, like Amanda said, that's really important to remember, that you are not responsible for their story or the story that they're telling themselves. And again, this is right from Brene Brown, that we are all made for connection. We're all made for relationships. And so on the one hand, like, you can't get so cynical that you close yourself off from relationships. Number one, for you as a human, that's not a very good idea. Two, for your business, that's a really bad idea, because our business is built by connecting with other people. But you also can't be so naive that you let anybody out there speak into your life. That hey, well, because you're my mom, I have to accept that oils are stupid or oils are a waste of time. Like, no, I don't have to do that. So the trick there is to be the kind of person that's telling a great story, and then to find people that are doing that same thing and give them the permission to speak into your life. Give them the permission to be part of your story. My next thought was, remember to be kind. Like, that to me is a really important one. I think we're both like in our top 5 strengths. Activator is right up there. Like, we're pretty passionate people. We're pretty excitable. We do stuff like all the way. But sometimes that can lead to us being pretty harsh, pretty critical. That, like, we didn't accomplish what we meant to, or like we fell behind, or that wasn't perfect, or whatever.
And our criticism typically starts with ourselves. Like, we hold ourselves to a really high standard. And so we tend to be really critical on ourselves. Like, right now, my house is a wreck. I had a goal of having my house perfectly clean before we left for Florida. And you know what? It's not going to happen. Now, Amanda 2 years ago would have been crying and angry and slapping my feet on the hardwood floors I walked by. And this year's Amanda's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? The house is going to be at like 60. Do we really need to take the trash out? It's going to be fine. It's okay to let things go.
But I think it's important to acknowledge, like, you didn't start there.
No.
And I think where a lot of people start from is, like think of it this way. Like, if you had a friend that told you, like, maybe you're texting tonight and your friend was like, oh my gosh, we're leaving for vacation tonight, and it was kind of a last minute thing, and my house is a mess.
Wait,
and
this is a friend?
You just keep listening.
Okay.
And it's BOGO week, and so, like, I can't keep up, and like, like, I'm just so behind, and I don't think I'm gonna get the house done, and BOGOs are everywhere, and like, I'm pulling my hair out. Like, you're probably not the kind of person that would say things like, well, you brought it on yourself. Or you wouldn't say things like, well, everyone else seems like they figured this out. Or you wouldn't say, like, you should probably just quit because you're obviously not cut out for this, right? Like, you would never ever say that to another person. And I think a lot of times we will say those things to ourselves. So, like, be kind to yourself, be gracious, be accepting. Because I'm here to tell you, like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're enough. And that's okay. Like, you have to start there, because the other thing is, you cannot show compassion, you cannot be empathetic, you cannot be gracious and connect with other people until you're doing that for yourself.
Which is the cornerstone of this business. Connecting with people, extending kindness, helping other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, like, you have to be able to do that before you can even start doing some of the personal development stuff we're talking about, to like learn how to manage stress, learn how to manage relationships. That if you're in a place where you can't admit your own, like, weaknesses or places that you're struggling, you're never going to be able to work on those and move forward from there. And then, so the other side of that is look for ways to be kind to other people as well. Another Brene quote, she says, everyone has a story or a struggle that will break your heart. And if we're really paying attention, most people have a story that will bring us to our knees. And you just have to keep that in front of you. I know for us, like, we've had years, like literal years, that have been just really dark and really hard. And some people knew what we were dealing with, and others definitely didn't. And we needed grace. We needed help from people through that. So I really think that if you do the work to learn how to be kind to yourself, you're going to be able to be kind to your family, kind to your spouse. And it's really just going to be, that to me is a really important thing there. And the last thing I had on there is that, remember, it can wait. And Amanda asked me, what do you mean by that? So sorry if that's not clear, but like part, I think you kind of described it already. Like, there are things that you can just let them go. There are things that you don't have to worry about it. Sometimes that's things in your family, and sometimes that's things in your business. Like if if you need to do bedtime with your kids and read them a story and make sure that they have a calm and healthy, bedtime transition. And then after that, you can go check your Power 3 chart. Like it can wait. It's going to be okay. Or maybe somebody texted you and like they've got a burning question about, is there an oil for whatever it is? And to them, it's really, really important. And also it can wait. It can wait 5 minutes. It can wait 10 minutes. It can wait an hour, because you are going to have to make choices over and over again about what you prioritize and what you say yes to and what you say no to. So give yourself that permission too, that you don't have to do everything like that just right that second. It can wait and it'll be okay. And I think that that's such a freeing attitude if you can really start to believe that. And for me, I'm just speaking directly from my own experience. Like I have taken myself way too seriously for way too long, that I'm not that big of a deal. Like I just don't matter that much. And I'm not saying like I beat up on myself, like don't talk down about yourself either. But I'm just saying, like, one of the beautiful things about the business model with doTERRA is that it keeps going even without you like just clamping down and controlling every last part of it. So I don't know. That's all I've got from there. So you were going to talk about the practical things, like okay, so now what do we do?
Yes. So you guys have heard it said before, I'm sure on these Zooms, that we are not in the essential oils business. We are in the people business, right? So connecting with people is your job. So whatever it is you need to do to connect with people, do that first. If you need to text somebody and be like, hey, how was your appointment? And not to say, by the way, turmeric's on the BOGO today. Just to reach out, how was your appointment? And this, you guys, this is really hard for me because I feel like my time is fairly limited. And so if I'm going to ask somebody, if I'm going to connect with somebody, it's going to be because either I need them to do something, or they need to do something, or they had a question that I need to answer. It's not going to be like, so how'd your hair appointment go? Like, I'm just not into it. I don't really care. But a lot of people do. And so I have to kind of like reach outside of myself and think about other people and say things like, how was that appointment? How was this? Because it matters to people that are not me, which I found is an important thing to do. And I will also say I do a ton of work from my phone. There will be like 2 or 3 days that I will not be in front of my computer. For me, having something on my phone or even on my watch that I can like glance at and go, oh, not important. I don't need to stop what I'm doing right now. Mike talked about it earlier, just letting some things go. I do try to like if I know it's going to be a busy week and I'm teaching 2 or 3 classes, I'm going to have crock pot meals that week, right? Practically speaking, some nights we're going to have soup in the crock pot or whatever. I will try, especially if I know a BOGO week is coming, I will like really deep clean the house the weekend before. So then it's more of a maintenance cleaning during that BOGO week that gets really busy, as opposed to we were already iffy on the house and now the whole thing's gone to pot because of BOGO week, right? Like I'm sure you guys are putting in more hours than you usually do. And also on that note, like having some distinct work times has been really helpful for me. So I may answer like, I kind of like call my kitchen my hub. And so in the morning, I've got people going to high school. I've got an overachiever that's always got a before school thing. I've got elementary school kids and little babies. So like there's a lot of people that need my attention in the morning. Most of that centered in the kitchen. Okay. So I can basically set up shop on the kitchen counter and do some work while I'm also saying, where are your shoes? Please don't look at your sister. Did you bring me your lunchbox from yesterday? Dad made lunch on the outside fridge. Like, you know, all those things we just like say to the people in our lives, but I can park it in the middle of the kitchen and be able to casually work while also reminding the children that live in this house to do things like eat food.
Or put on clothing.
Or put on clothing. You just never know. And so that's kind of like my casual work time is in the morning before school. I have a very social 4-year-old. We typically run errands in the morning, but then I know that I've got from about noon when the baby lays down until 2:45 every day that I do very intentional work during that time. That is my time to work. I try not to let other things get in my way. That may be times where I've been setting up like coffee dates with people here at my house during that time if they would like to meet. But that is my work time, and I try not to do house things during that time because there are always house things that need to get done. There are always other things that need to get done. But during that like noonish to 2:45-ish, I can do work. So that's going to be me sitting at my computer, answering longer emails. And I will even say, like, if somebody texts me at 9 a.m., they're like, hey, I've got this challenge, or I can't figure out my back office, I will say something along the lines of, this is an important question that deserves more of my time. I will set a reminder and I will get to you about 1 o'clock this afternoon. And that way people feel heard. They feel seen. They know that I'm not just going to casually spout something off. And you guys, if I've got 10 seconds to answer a 5-minute question, it's going to come across as snippy. That's something that I fight against often is, being that like type A, like my general conversation can come across as snippy, even when I don't even feel snippy. This is just how my voice is. I don't know. This is just how I talk. So especially with texting, especially knowing who you're talking to, don't try to cram a 5-minute conversation into a 10-second text. It's going to come across as rude when you can very easily say, this deserves my attention. I will give it to you later. So that's a little tip. And so working in that like noon to 2:45-ish before I have to go do school pickup, the baby's napping, yay. But my 4-year-old watches a lot of PBS in the afternoons. And that right now is a trade-off that I'm willing to do. That like every once in a while I come across like, oh, 4-year-olds should only have so much screen time. I'm like, but also maybe their mom's not building a multi-million-dollar business. So I think we're going to be okay with Super Y. And plus she can practically read. So who's the real winner?
It's Betty.
It's Betty. Betty's the winner
winner
right there. So don't be too hard on yourself. Like, I know that some of us have little kids and some of us don't. So if that applies to you, awesome. If it doesn't, let it go. Don't give it the brain space.
I mean, like for other people, it might be though, like you have a full-time job out of the home that you have to deal with. And then for you, that set apart time isn't from 12 to 2:30. It's like from 7:30 to 9:30 every night. And that, whatever works for you. But I think you have seen that that's really paid off, that when you, because it's your business will not grow if you don't work at it. Like there's another quote, and I can't remember if you guys know, please tell me who said this, that a lot of times chasing your dreams actually looks an awful lot like hard work. Oh,
I think it was Jen Hatmaker.
Was that Jen
our
Hatmaker?
Other BFF?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So like this is going to be work. Like don't lie to you. Don't kid yourself. It's going to be hard work. And your business will not grow if you don't put time toward it. So set apart that time. Keep those promises to yourself that you're going to set that time apart. And I think that kind of leads to the next one.
Yeah. So my family knows that like I work, I have classes, I teach online classes, and I'm going to be gone certain nights of the week. But the key, I think, has been getting them on board. Like snagging my 8-year-old and saying, hey, Clara, I need 12 handouts tonight for this class, and I'm going to do the natural solutions handout. Can you grab 12 natural solutions handouts for me and put it in this backpack? She's ecstatic. We're hanging out in my office. She gets to spend time with me. She sees that this is important to me and that she can be a part of it. Our kids help us. I'm looking right now. Our kids help us put together our vision board. Whenever we decided like what are the things that are important to us as a family, our kids helped us decide and find pictures and tack them on there. And it was my 13-year-old. No, I think it was Elsie. Was it? Anyway, my 13-year-old came to me yesterday. She's like, hey, first thing off the vision board. And I was like, she goes, yeah, we're going to the beach tomorrow. It's the first thing off your vision board. And I was like, oh my gosh, like she noticed before I did that, like, yeah, we set that goal as a family and we are doing it. So they're on board, and that helps a lot. So it's not just like, Mom, why are you going to another class? They're like, get them. Let's get gold this week. Let's go. Get it, Mom.
Yeah.
And it's great. Anything else?
Well, I think just to kind of clarify on that, like even for them to be on board with oils, like as foundational as that sounds, like our kids are taking the supplements every day and they're using the kids collection, and like to them, doTERRA is not this weird foreign, like what even is that kind of thing. It's like doTERRA is part of our lives every single day. And so it's only natural for us to be, building a business around that. And I think they've caught too, both through the vision board and just through us talking about what our goals are. Like they get it that their lives will be different because of doTERRA. Like we'll have freedom to spend time with them and for them to have opportunities that they would not have if we weren't able to build our business. So getting their buy-in, like I think it's helpful for them to realize like, yeah, we're making some sacrifices now, putting in some hard work now to get to the place that we want to be, in the coming years. Yeah. So I think that's all we had.
Yeah. So we're leaving for Florida in like seriously 4.5 hours. And we made sure the kids know this is from Mom's back. Yep. And this is only the beginning of what we're going to be able to do as a family. That's what we got.
I love it. You guys are awesome. I want to come to Nebraska and hang out with you. Okay. Like I am going to load up my family and drive over to your house. You guys are so fun. You have the best energy ever.
Thank you.
You guys, it was such a work in progress. Like if you would have met us 3 years ago, you would have been like, no, we're good. We were so sad. And our energy was so sad. And we were just so beat down by the things that we were going through that like, I can't even believe that this is my life now. Like I just can't believe it.
Well, and like, I feel like it's important to remember, like we hate it that we have to go through hard stuff to learn and to grow and to become the people that we're becoming. But like the things that we've gone through, like those are foundational to who we are now. And doTERRA is a big part of that. Like maybe someday we'll tell the whole story, but Amanda was fighting, we're supposed to be compliant, right? No. How compliant? Okay. So Amanda had PTSD from when our daughter Hazel was born. She had a 2-inch uterine rupture and passed out on our bathroom floor, and both of them nearly died. And so like that made things really hard for us for a while. And then Copaiba came along, and like that was a huge turning point for us. So I feel like we've come to a place like we're accepting and embracing our whole story, including the hard parts of it.
Did we just talk about this like maybe last week that I was like, I'm not ready to say that I'm grateful for what we went through, but I'm able to acknowledge what we went through brought us to where we are today. Yeah. And I'm grateful for where I am today.
Yeah.
It's a little nuanced, but I hope you tracked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's what I watch Rachel Hollis and Dave every morning as well. And they talk a lot about Brendan Bershon. Is that his name? Mm-hmm. Brandon. And so I started listening to his podcast, and his whole story is honor the struggle, right? Like you have to go through that struggle and just honor it because it's going to get you to where, you're going. So I love that. What questions do you guys have for these guys?
Courtney has our back.
Yeah, there you go, Courtney. As I butcher his name, but I'm telling you, good podcast too. Anybody have any questions? So we got a lot going on. These guys are great to talk about, BOGOs this week. Do you have questions about BOGOs? We've had a lot going on in Rockstars. Where do I put people? How do I reactivate? How do I move? Holy crap, I'm elite. Dana is elite. There's a lot of stuff going on, guys. So does anyone have any questions about any of that or anything? Throw it out there. Come on, Iris. I see you.
Well, in the last week, my downline, Chrissy, has 2 enrollments, and Carmen had 1. And this is the first time ever that My goodness gracious, my downline is doing this. Now, what do I do to keep them supported?
Mm-hmm.
And Mike and Amanda, maybe you have some extra helpful hints there.
Yeah, can we go?
Sure. So we're by no means experts, and I'm looking at some of my downline here, so I hope that I answer correctly here. But I kind of feel like part of my tenacity sometimes can come across as a little abrasive. So I've found that asking a lot of questions has been I'm like looking at my downlines, and I'm really nervous right now to answer this question. But like I found, or at least I hope, that by asking really great questions like, what do you need today? Do you need help with that? How can I support you in that? Because probably they know, or they're going to be able to say, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what I'm doing here. And I'll say things like, what I found to be helpful in this situation is, and that kind of like softens the, I'm not just like coming in here and telling you how to run your life and your business, but I'm saying like, cool, do you need any help with that? Yeah, you do? Great. Here's how I would do it. No, you don't? Cool. Let me know if you need me. You're doing a great job. Keep on doing what you're doing. Like, don't overthink it. Just ask questions for what they're thinking and what they're doing.
Very good point. Very good point. Thank you.
Kind of hit on it too. I mean, really, like it has to be their thing. Like it has to be what they want to do. And you know, and I'm a big believer, like you can fake caring, but not for very long. Like people will figure out pretty quick that you're faking it. And so like, I really think it's important. And I remember like Michael and Courtney telling us, who they're on tonight, they're our upline. They told me at one point that they get more excited about people in their downline ranking up than them ranking up. And I didn't get what that meant at the time. But now like we have a chart on our fridge that we look at every single day, multiple times a day, of how our different legs are doing and how they're succeeding. And like, I am seriously more excited about that and seeing like this person already hit this rank this month and this person is like setting a record and like that. And like, oh yeah. And I guess that does mean that we're probably going to rank advanced too. But like, that's like, I just don't even, I don't want to say I don't care about it because I absolutely do care about it.
I do.
Yeah. But, but like for me, like it's really important, you know, and like I said, you really have to listen. Like leaders, I love quotes. Like I remember a quote, I don't ever know who said them, but the quote was something to the effect of that leaders who don't listen will soon have followers with nothing to say. And like, I feel like if we are not finding ways to lead that empowers our people, that we get excited about what they're excited about, pretty soon they won't ever turn into leaders if we're the ones always leading for them, if that makes sense.
It definitely does. And I feel like that there are times I'm a perfectionist and I have the way I would do this, and I just have to let go of that and let them do it their own way. And say the quote again, leaders who don't
listen will soon be surrounded by followers with nothing to say.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I would just say you answered that question very well. So I think it helps sometimes that some of us, like, I mean, our minds kind of work on that same way. Like, I'm a pretty, like, I don't need the BS. Like, I don't really have time for it, actually. So, like, it may be 30 seconds that I have. So, like, please, like, I love you, but like, tell me like, yeah, Jen, I think that's right. Like, go ahead and like, we can chat about it later, but yeah. Or be like, hell no, don't do it. Just wait. Like, we'll figure it out later. Like, I'm okay with that. But I think that it's very dependent on the person too, because I know that like how I talk to my mom about how she talks to somebody or lacks thereof talks to somebody, right? About something. Well, like 20 minutes later tells me to, you know, like, well, maybe you could just text her. I'm like, yeah, we could have done this like 30 minutes ago, Mom, because I don't have time. So like how she deals with it is something totally different than like sweet Amanda, who is so sweet under me that it like needs the sweetness, right? Like, I think it just kind of depends on the person, maybe. But I think that you kind of start figuring that out, hopefully, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you do. And then
Yeah.
like there becomes a point like I don't know everybody who's on downlines teams. Like that's not realistic at this point. But I know my leaders.
Which is great,
and I
right?
know how I have led them. And I know yeah. And then I know like they're going to do a great job for their teams because I've been faithful with what I've been given.
Yeah.
Is that haughty?
No, it's absolutely true.
Okay.
Well, and I think, I mean, like the last couple of times, I think it is important, like find people that work the way that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also important, like I know we've talked before about the Gallup Strengths Finder, like any team of people, you should have people who are different than you, who have different strengths than you do. Because that's what it takes. Like some people are really like activators like we are, and we're like, go, let's get started. But like at least for me, I won't speak for me. Like I don't always follow through very well. Like I'll get big picture excited, but then I get lost in the details and don't follow through. But then there's other people like they live to cross things off the list and get those things done. And so like any team needs people that do those things.
Mm-hmm.
One other resource, I just gonna throw this out here. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Enneagram before. I can't stop talking about it. I'm just probably gonna pick on me about that.
I'm about to get like a cursing jar. Like every time Mike mentions the Enneagram, he has to put a quarter in it.
But like you guys, it's been so helpful, like for me to realize that not everybody sees the world the way that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And even like Amanda's realizing like her lens that she sees the world through is very black and white, very matter of fact. But there are people out there who are very touchy-feely, very like they need the hand holding. They're going to be indecisive, right? Like part of my, so it's the Enneagram, Enneagram. Yeah, thank you. And that just means like 9 types. So like there's 9, I don't want to say personality types. It's more like there's 9 ways that people see the world, that they'll generally gravitate to one of those 9. It's like for me, like I need people to see me as successful. And so like I'm always performing for that. I need that input. I need people to say great job. And so like just knowing that about myself for one has made it so like, oh, like I'm doing that again. I'm doing that thing where like I need whatever. And so if I know that, I can ask for that and I can, understand that. But then I can also figure out there's other people that are going to see the world. So like Jen, like you and Amanda, like are pretty similar. You guys can connect on that same wavelength, but you may have people on your team that they're very, very not like that. Maybe they're very analytical and deliberate and they're really slow and they really, and not slow in a bad way, but like they just need to, like they won't even teach a class until they've rehearsed it 7 times and they know every page of that handout. Whereas like you and Amanda are maybe more like, I'm going to jump in and just go conquer this thing. So I think that's really helpful that as you're building a team, you got to know your people, and there's some tools out there, whether it's Strengths Finder, the Enneagram, there's ways to do that.
Anybody else?
Thank you guys again so much. I'm going to shut off the recording